Welcome to Group 47's Fortnite Let's Play for IAT 210. Let's get right into it. Upon selecting a game mode, the player will be brought to the main menu screen. Here we see that the UI is fairly easy to navigate and understand. As you can see, the player can either play solo or with a squad of up to 3 other players, all of who can be invited through the friends list. When shifting between tabs, the user may view their own profile, customize their character, view the in-game shop, and more. Certain aspects like challenges under the Challenges tab provide the user with different motivators for completing specific tasks in the game. Players are also provided with the option to choose from different customizable items and settings that they may change and adjust as they please. The player is free to select between different types of backbling, harvesting tools, gliders, loading screens, and more. All these items found in the Locker tab give the player their own identity in the game, setting them apart from other players. This game's concept is similar to that of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds or H1Z1, which is currently a very popular style of game. For the business model, this game followed the same style as that of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and therefore attracted the consumer base from those games to this one. Fortnite to PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is like Overwatch to Team Fortress 2. The main reasons for the success of Fortnite include the building feature, simpler navigation, and the visually appealing graphics. In addition, the wait time for entering matches is drastically reduced in comparison to Fortnite's competitors. Also, the dynamics and mechanics are very easy to understand. The main operational rules for the game include adopting a competitive attitude in order to maintain a consistent balance between strategy and action. In order to engage in battle with other players on the server, the player must choose one of several different game modes. After a few second wait time for entering a match, the player will be brought to the lobby, where they can practice improving their accuracy, making plans with their squad, or generally just hanging around. Operative actions in this game include jumping, shooting, running, and building. The game also offers great navigational affordance, providing the player with a map of the entire game to see whether they can avoid a special object called the Storm, in addition to where they plan on landing. Everyone in the server is then brought to the party bus, an object in the game that takes you over the map, aiming to bring you closer to your destination point. The stunning graphics mentioned earlier really add to the game's atmosphere, such as the colorful sky and shimmering waters. Here is a demonstration of an operative and resultant action. The player will eject themselves from the party bus, glide towards land gradually, and hopefully land near their preferred location. As you can see, environmental affordance is present, and the user interface is clear and easy to understand. Likewise, we have systemic affordance, which concerns the concept of the game, and if you've ever played Fortnite, you know that basically you're fighting until you're the last one standing. Just look how big the entire map is compared to a single player. It leaves them with a Padia feel in the Ludus game. Note how the player must quickly gather and use resources in order to take advantage of the brief time they have before the real Aegon elements of the game starts to show. That is, people start killing each other. Weapons and resources are necessities, and must be collected to ensure survival for yourself and death for other players. Here's where the action really picks up. There are only 17 players left in the game, and the storm has contracted significantly. Here the player must manipulate the dynamics of the game while simultaneously pursuing the aesthetic. This game is intended for both casual and hardcore gamers, depending on what point in the match you're at. This is known as emergent complexity and is synchronized with the game's perfect balance of flow state. We also see an example of discernible meaningful play, where the health of the enemy or player goes down the second they receive damage, and the amount that is lost depends on the strength of the gun used. Indeed, objects like these play a huge role during gameplay, ultimately influencing where you go and what you do, depending on the status of your inventory. The player has, by this point, explored the map, expanded their inventories, and exploited resources. Now it's time to exterminate. The player will, when the time comes, go through a specific cycle. Collect resources, use resources, extract other players' resources, which then allows them to collect, use, and extract over and over until the game ends for that player. According to Lindsay Grace's Game Types and Genres, Fortnite can be easily classified as an action game, specifically excitement, which is quite apparent given that the player is almost never idle, because if they don't move, they don't live. As demonstrated, this game can require a high level of skill if you want to claim victory. Social skills are present when working with your squad, physical skills are required as you must know how to move, shoot, and build to gain advantage, and mental skills come into play early on when planning which buildings to go to, which weapons to drop, when to use shields for maximum efficiency, and how to build proper defensible structures in short periods of time. Furthermore, knowing the consequences of your actions when engaging in combat with other players is a key to the game. Such external factors allow you to predict when the opponent will die after how many shots, when you should jump or run around to evade enemy fire, and much more. It's not just guns blazing tactics that are used all the time by the majority of the player base. In fact, a great amount of strategic thinking is required, especially when you fall short on health or weaponry. In many cases, you are often looting abandoned houses or buildings for missed treasures and useful items, while at the same time remaining on alert for incoming enemies. Continuous game space means you are constantly checking for nearby enemies from all directions, but you're probably thinking that such constant alertness will probably end up getting you killed. Luckily, Fortnite has implemented a special kind of navigational affordance, where the rather obvious footsteps of other players become louder as they get closer to the player. You can see just how much participation from the player is required when engaging in combat. You must be aggressive, yet careful at all times, being cautious of your health and the enemy's health simultaneously. Combining all these elements is what makes Fortnite the exponentially fun game that it is. Well, this was Group 47's Fortnite Let's Play for IAT 210. Thanks for watching.